Tonight with the latest in our politically charged investigation.
I believe I was a politically prosecuted, yes.
This public defense attorney arrested and charged with crimes he didn't commit during a candlelight protest. Video clearly proved it, but Phoenix police and Maricopa County prosecutors filed false charges anyway.
We have exposed troubling cases filed against police protesters throughout 2020, bad arrests, bogus charges, and highly questionable cases.
So far, 9 officers have been reassigned while under investigation. The county attorney also admitting some protest charges weren't properly vetted. As ABC 15 investigator Dave Biskobing is about to show you, what happened in 2020 wasn't the start. It was simply the latest incident.
Good afternoon, Council. Is everybody ready?
It's August 2019, and this hearing is to decide whether criminal charges against Jamaar Williams should stick.
Your Honor, the state's going to call Officer Barrios.
It's a Phoenix police officer to help lay out the evidence.
Were you present at an incident occurring on July 12th, 2019?
I was.
What was going on that night?
There was a protest.
A month earlier, a demonstration downtown. The purpose, protest feds separating migrant children. People held candles. Some sat on the light rail. Jamaar, seen here, handed out water bottles.
So at some point that evening, did you come into contact with Jamaar Williams?
I did.
Is that person in the courtroom today?
He is.
Were you asked to arrest and detain the defendant?
Yes.
Okay. Who asked you to do that?
Sergeant Gage. Sergeant Gage indicated that he had attempted to take Mr. Williams into custody and that Mr. Williams had hammer struck him in the chest while he was trying to grab a hold of him to arrest him.
Now, can you please explain to the court what a hammer strike is?
You pretty much take your fist, ball it up, and hit somebody.
Now watch that again. The prosecutor asked the officer to demonstrate, and the officer does.
What did Sergeant Gage say the defendant did after hitting him with a hammer fist?
He hit him a second time while he was still trying to get control of his left wrist.
And then what did he? And then what did the defendant?
The defendant was able to pull away and disappear into the crowd.
But that's not all. Jamaar allegedly resisted another cop, Officer McGee.
Did Officer McGee say that he tried to take the defendant into custody at that time?
He did.
This was the moment police arrested Jamaar. It happens fast. In this cell phone video, you can see officers rush in, then slip back behind the line. Overhead surveillance video gives a better look. You can see the line split here and officers rush in.
It was like 5 or 6 officers that jumped out and grabbed me. They threw me on the ground and my body was sort of crumbled. My body was sort of crumbled down on the street. And all of these officers are essentially sitting on me, telling me not to resist arrest.
At the hearing, this officer testified that multiple officers ID'd Jamaar.
So he looked at the defendant.
Correct.
After the fact and said, yes, that's the person?
Correct.
Okay.
The case against Jamaar sounds bad.
No further questions this time, Judge.
Bad until you learn it's not true. Video proves it's not true, and they know it.
And they've lost sight of justice, and they've lost sight of the truth and what's fair. And that's what happened to me, and that's what's happening to other protesters as well.
Jamaar Williams is a Black Lives Matter organizer. He sat on a city committee about police reform, and he's a Maricopa County public defender. So his job is to battle the Maricopa County Attorney's Office in court. He went to the protest that night with his wife, Heather Hamill, as legal observers. Heather's also an attorney, and they both say tension was high.
If you really think about it, we're out there holding candles, talking about, to bring attention to children being held in cages, and they're mad at us.
You were saying...
The same night, a different person arrested during a news interview with the Arizona Mirror. Their video shows him tackled by officers without warning. ABC 15 obtained dozens of videos from that night. Cell phone clips, news coverage, police surveillance video. Here's what it shows. After police removed people sitting on the light rail, they ordered people to the sidewalk, and officers lined the street with what's called a skirmish line. Then, without warning, officers pushed forward, one of them flattening Heather. You can see her go flying. That's when Jamaar and Heather confront the officer. But Jamaar isn't arrested at this point. He's arrested later, and he's booked and charged with aggravated assault on a police officer.
I think what that said to us was they're very serious about wanting to go after you. This is them trying to destroy you.
So now, you don't know this at the time, but that same night, they knew it wasn't you.
Yeah.
Now watch the case fall apart when the officer gets cross-examined by Jamar's attorney.
It sounds like a lot of the information you've gotten from other officers, correct?
Correct.
Remember, Officer Barrios didn't actually witness the crimes Jamaar was accused of committing. He got third-hand information.
And everyone's human, so there's always the possibility there could have been an accident that night.
Right.
A misidentification, correct?
Yes.
Would it be fair to say that you did learn at some point, either that night or the next morning, that there was a misidentification and Jamaar Williams did not strike an officer with his hand?
Correct.
Police surveillance video shows another man struggling with officers, then slipping into the crowd. The camera even zooms in and follows him. But about 2 minutes later, a team goes in to arrest Jamaar in another part of the crowd.
I want to say there was video that they pulled up or some calls were made. Who made those calls, I'm not sure, but ultimately it came down to Mr. Williams being the wrong person that was arrested.
Okay. Are you aware that I have requested the video from the police and have been told there isn't any video?
I'm not.
Okay.
Remember, this video is police video. It's from a special surveillance truck they had at the protest. But Jamaar and his lawyers got this video long after the hearing. In court, during cross-examination, they confronted Officer Barrios with cell phone video from witnesses. Video they claim the prosecution refused to watch. And the cell phone video shows what the surveillance video shows. A white male scuffling with officers, not Jamaar.
You might have a pretty good eye for this. Is Mr. Williams white or not?
He's not.
So bottom line, police booked Jamaar into jail that night, claiming he hammer-fisted an officer and fled. Then, when they knew it was false, they still put an officer on the stand, who still testified and demonstrated that Jamaar hammer-fisted an officer and fled. And again, this officer wasn't even a witness to those alleged crimes.
Is when no one holds them accountable and they do it to one of us, then they know that they can get away with this, so they keep doing it to other people.
The totality of the circumstance.
At the hearing, the judge dismissed all charges.
Does not find probable cause.
And after, no one, no police, no prosecutors, disciplined for what happened.
The county attorney's office isn't going to hold them accountable. No one at the city is going to hold them accountable. No one within the police department is going to hold them accountable. So, of course, they're going to keep doing things that they get away with.
I'm investigator Dave Biscobing, ABC 15, Arizona.
Just before we came on the air, we received a statement from Phoenix police defending the charges. Police still claim Jamaar Williams pushed an officer, and the department also sent a video that further contradicts their own officer's testimony. We're reaching out to the city manager to find out if he or Chief Jerry Williams signed off on this statement and video. We'll have a full report dissecting the video tomorrow night. The Maricopa County Attorney's Office also released a statement denying prosecutors refused to review video evidence and claimed the testimony about a misidentification was a surprise to them on the stand.